Suu Kyi is free personally, but handcuffed politically, still living in the home that was her prison and then briefly her podium, which is where CNN's Tom Mentir found her.
It has been now almost 2 years since you've been released from house detention. How has your life changed? Have there been improvements in the situation here in that time?
Well, it's very difficult to answer that question because I felt free when I was under house arrest. I still feel free now because I have never felt that the SLORC was able to really deprive me of my right to freedom of thought and freedom of expression. They may have been able to stop me from talking to other people. They may have been able to stop other people hearing what I thought. But I never felt that I was not free. So my personal situation, I don't think I feel that there has been any great change mentally. But of course physically there have been many changes. I certainly see a lot more people now. And although in recent months they've blocked off my route and tried to stop people from getting in touch with me, I still am much more in contact with people now than I was under house arrest. So the situation is much better from the point of view of contact. From the internal point of view, as it were, no change is what I would say.
It's been about 6 months since you've been able to address your followers at your front gate. For nearly a year you were able to do so.
Yes.
If you could say something new today to your followers, what would it be?
I think I would talk to them about the present situation, about the fact that the forces of democracy are now being subjected to more repression than they ever have been, the need to keep strong, because the more the authorities repress us, the greater a sign it is that we are active, that we are effective. If we were not effective, there would be no need for them to run around taking all these very unjust actions that they are against us. And the importance of commitment and unity. We believe in commitment. We think that the most important thing about our movement is the strong commitment of those who are involved in it. If our commitment is strong, we shall get to our goal quicker. And I would like to ask the people to develop a sense of strong commitment and to keep united. There's too much disunity and there's too much fear. And that's something that I have to keep talking to them about. What are you frightened of? Are you frightened of trouble? You can't escape trouble in this life. Trouble will come in one form or the other. If it doesn't come in the form of SLORC, it'll come in some other form. So we might as well face it.
In what ways are they repressing you and your members?
They have arrested a lot of our members. They keep arresting the members of our organizational committees in various parts of Burma. They have forced a number of our offices to close down. This is particularly so in the states. The Kachin state, the Kayah state, the Karen state. They seem to be very keen to prove that we have no support among the ethnic nationalities. The very fact that they feel this need to prove that we have no support among the ethnic nationalities would indicate that they know that we have a lot of support among the ethnic nationalities. And there are unjust arrests all the time.
You've always spoken out against outside investment in this country, saying that it's not good for the people of this country. Why not?
Because it gives the wrong signals. And also because it does not really help the country. Now, the investment so far has helped to enrich a few people, a very, very small circle, the elite. And the disparity between the haves and the have-nots has increased tremendously over the last 8 years, and that is unhealthy. This will mean social unrest. Of course, there's no political justice, but on top of that, social injustice is going to come in when there is such disparity, and this will mean great trouble for the country.
But doesn't investment mean jobs and paychecks and a better standard of living?
Investment means some jobs, and a better standard of living for some people. Now, for those who say to me that the investors coming in will improve the economy and will create more jobs and will make the country richer and the people will have a better standard of living, I say you should compare Burma now to the Philippines in the late 70s and 80s, where there was the kind of investment there is in Burma now. That did not help the country at all. In the Philippines then, as in Burma now, a small elite got richer and richer, but the people as a whole got poorer. The disparity between the rich and the poor became greater, and many social problems evolved during those decades. And we fear that the same thing is happening in Burma. So from an economic and social point of view, I object to investors coming in now under a system which only helps to enrich a few. And from a political point of view, it encourages the hardliners to think that they can get away with everything they do.
There is something called constructive engagement that many nations have tried to use with the government here. It now appears that admission to ASEAN is almost a certainty for July. Will that help or hurt the situation?
I do not think it will help the people of Burma, because last year it was after SLORC was admitted as an observer to ASEAN that it became really oppressive. If you remember, in May last year, we were planning a party congress of elected representatives. Now, over 200 of them were immediately put under detention, and they tried to put a stop to our Congress, but there was an international outcry, and of course the ASEAN meeting was looming up in July when it would be decided whether or not SLORC would be accepted as an observer. SLORC was fairly restrained in its behavior. It did release a lot of those who were under detention. They kept back some key people who are still in prison now, and they did let us go ahead with our party congress. After SLORC was given observer status in July, they started putting our people on trial, giving them very long, tough prison sentences, and then the repression started. And I am very much afraid that if SLORC is given full membership in ASEAN, the repression will get even worse.
Worse than it is now?
Oh, absolutely. I think they will feel that they've been given carte blanche to do whatever they like.
One final question. What will it take to move the situation here off the stalemate that currently exists? Do you see an answer?
I'm never in favor of the word stalemate, because I don't think things ever stay still. Things are moving all the time. I used to use the example of an iced over lake. You know, everything seems very still and frozen on the surface, but of course things are moving under the surface.
Are you optimistic?
I'm a cautious optimist. I always have been a cautious optimist. And also I believe in working. I don't believe in hope without work and endeavor. I don't believe in sitting and hoping. We work. We struggle for what we want. I think only those who struggle have the right to hope. I don't think those who just sit and wait for things to happen have the right to hope. I don't believe in sitting like patients on a monument smiling at grief. That's not my line of thought.
Thank you very much.
Not at all. It's always a pleasure to talk to you.